There are many different ways that equations for straight lines can be written, and you'll come across many of these, and I don't want you to be confused when you see one version over another, because you have the ability to change which side the different parts of the equation are written on so that it can be written in a form that you recognize. So first of all, let's start off with slope-intercept form, which will be the most common one that you'll see and is also the one that you'll most likely be aiming to rearrange or transpose your equation to look like. So in this form, we see that y equals mx plus c. And m is referring to the gradient or the slope, so how steep is that actual line. And c is referring to the y-intercept, where on the y-axis does this line cross. In this form, y and x are pronumerals, and they will stay as pronumerals in this written form. So let's see an example of that. We have y equals negative 2x plus 7. So your m here is actually negative 2. So gradient's negative 2, and your y-intercept is positive 7. I don't want to see you ever say that the gradient m is 2x. It's not 2x. M is referring only to the coefficient, the part in front, the number part in front of the letter x. Let's have a look at another version. You might see it as a point slope form. So in this one, we still have m, the gradient, and we still have our pronumerals y and x, but we also have some coordinates. We have x1 and y1. So if I was to write them as coordinates, you'd see it in this form with some numbers in here. So using exactly the same equation as what you see up here, the y equals negative 2x plus 7, I'm going to show you how that would be written in point slope form. So you still have the pronumeral y and the minus sign, the pronumeral x and the minus sign, and we know that m is negative 2. So that just comes straight from that spot there. What I'm going to show you is one version of point slope form that I have chosen an x value for. So I have chosen an x value of 3. So for this coordinate here, there would be a 3 here. So when x is 3, up here y would be negative 2 times 3, which is negative 6 plus 7. Negative 6 plus 7 is positive 1. So here we see 1 goes into the position for y. Of course, I could have chosen any number to put in for x, and that would affect what this version of the line looks like. But even though this top equation here and this one here look very different, they are representing exactly the same line. The third one I want to show you is called standard form, which is where you have both of your pronumerals x and y on the left-hand side, and they each have a coefficient. It might be 1, so you might not see it. And then on the right-hand side, you have a constant term, which is just a number with no pronumeral. It's important that you recognize this c is not the y-intercept. Okay, they are different. So again, this is exactly the same line as these two above. All I've done is, because I needed x and y on the same side, I've left y on that side, and I've moved negative 2x over. Now to move a negative 2 from this side, I have to add it here to get rid of it. Negative 2x plus 2x is 0, and it becomes plus 2x on this side. So I could write it like this. Get rid of it on that side. Plus 2x. So here it is 2x plus y, which is exactly the same as y plus 2x, equals 7, because that's what we have left on that right-hand side. So that's standard form. You've also got general form, which is where everything is shifted over to the left, and on the right, all you have is the number 0. So obviously, if we want to shift this 7 over, we have to get rid of it from this side and put it onto that side. So general form becomes 2x plus y minus 7 equals 0. To reiterate, I've just shown you 4 different versions of the equations for a single straight line. So this straight line, and I'm going to take this part here as an example, is a line that goes through the y-axis at positive 7, so somewhere here, and you would obviously have your scale on there going down there, and it has a gradient of -2, which means it's -2/1, which means it will fall 2 every time it moves to the right one position, 1 unit. So falling 2, moving across 1, falling 2, moving across 1, falling 2, moving across 1, falling 2, moving across 1. Then you would come along with your ruler and you'd be able to very carefully draw your straight line through those points better than I have here. Now, what if you came across this one here? I mean, that looks really strange and you might not know how to handle that. So if you see any of these other versions and you feel very uncomfortable with them, what you can do is you can transpose, which means make another pronumeral subject. So for example, this one here, you could make that the subject by shifting that number over and expanding these brackets and combining like terms. Or this one here, you could just shift over the 2x so that it was on that side. So if you're not sure how to transpose, you should watch the transposing video. But once you've got it in that form, you can graph using the y-intercept and the gradient, just as I've done here. I plotted the y-intercept, then I put in points that corresponded to that gradient. Another way that you could do it is you could work out the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Here we knew that the y-intercept was +7. We could have then worked out what the x-intercept was, plotted it, and drawn our straight line. And that is covered in a video looking at the x and y intercepts. And the third way that you could do it is to graph using 2 coordinates. This is where you choose 2 inputs, 2 x values. All right, these are inputs you are choosing. So you might choose x is 0 and x is 1. And then you go through and you work out what the outputs are. What is y if x is 0? What is y if x is 1? This is exactly the same process as making a table of values. However, you only need to do 2 points to draw a line. As soon as you have 2 points, using your ruler and lining it up with the 2 points, you can draw your line. You do not need to do more than 2 points. So what I want you to do now is have a look at these 3 videos: the transposing video, the intercepts video, and the table of values video. Thanks for watching.